What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Fringe. Mark Carney has made a lot of claims since he's become Prime Minister of Canada. Mark Carney has said that he was going to fight Donald Trump and ensure that we had a fair deal going against tariffs. We've seen that that is not happening. In fact, Donald Trump saying that August 1st will come and the tariffs will be in place. Mark Carney saying, well, guys, at least it's not as much as other countries, so let's just be happy with that. Mark Carney's leadership, well, the word leadership doesn't even apply to what Mark Carney's doing. He's essentially a placeholder. He's doing the exact same thing as Justin Trudeau. He comes in, he spews word salad, and then he runs away and hides. He takes vacations, he ignores real-world issues while enjoying the lavish lifestyle that comes with being Prime Minister of Canada. One of the things that's now happened is we've got premiers around the country saying that they want to get pipelines built, that they want to have projects unleashed. Mark Carney has also said he wants to open up Canada's economic trade within provinces and restrict border deficiencies with among provinces. Now, you can see that they stole that from Pierre Poilievre from the get-go. I mean, that's all Mark Carney does, is he plagiarizes everybody else. Well, now Mark Carney's done everything in his power to ensure that no project ever gets built in this country. In fact, this is only going to fuel multiple provinces, not just Alberta, to say, it's time to go. People are being taxed into oblivion. They're getting no progress when it comes to its economic trade barriers. And now Mark Carney ensuring nothing will get done in Canada. Let's take a look at Mark Nixon's post here. Good channel, by the way. You should follow Mark on YouTube. Breaking: Canada will now require unanimous First Nations approval for all major projects. That's like needing 338 MPs to agree on a bill. It's never going to happen. Carney didn't greenlight reconciliation, he greenlit paralysis. Can you guys imagine that we need all First Nations consent on any project? We saw this earlier this week with Wab Canoe. Danielle Smith, Scott Moe, and Doug Ford announced that they were going to move forward with a pipeline to Ontario to refine our oil and gas, to open up trade barriers, and Wab Canoe comes in and says, nope, doesn't fit with First Nations. We're not doing that. We're not moving forward. You got Mark Nixon saying a single no kills a pipeline. A single objection halts energy independence. The odds of building anything in this country just dropped to zero. We're not a nation. We're a veto sandbox. Now, of course, one of the comments that was just under there said, well, the video says nothing about a veto on votes. We're going to cover all of that. Take a look at the clip here.
Mark Carney has offered reassurances plans for major projects won't violate modern treaties. This comes amid Carney's push to assure Indigenous leaders there will be full consultation on major projects.
It fully respects treaty-based environmental assessment processes. In fact, those will be essential for anything that we move forward.
Mark Carney has...
So just because he's not using the word of veto doesn't mean it's not going to happen. He says this will be essential moving forward. If they don't have the approval, they're not going to do it. They don't want to violate treaties. In fact, we can take a look at this article from the National Post. Carney tells Inuit leaders his new major projects bill will fully respect treaty rights. Prime Minister Mark Carney told Inuit leaders that his government's major projects bill fully respects the treaty rights a week after several Indigenous leaders left a recent meeting with him in a state of frustration, saying that their treaties were being undermined. So what you're seeing here is the pushback from First Nations saying, unless we agree with what's going on, Mark Carney, you can't build it. And Mark's saying, well, we'll respect that. We'll allow for that. So Mark Carney, if you've noticed his negotiation skills, when it comes to Donald Trump, when it comes to First Nations, as soon as somebody gives him a little bit of pushback, he doesn't stand his ground. He folds. Goes on to say here, on Thursday, Carney was taking part in a meeting with Inuit Crown Partnership Committee, co-hosted by the president of Inuit, Taparit, Kitamati, Nathan Abed. I can't do the words. I can't do all that stuff. In opening remarks, the Prime Minister said he wanted to make absolutely clear in the context of this forum on what legislation could do and what it doesn't do. I want to be clear up front. The Act fully respects treaty rights, including modern treaties. The modern treaties with Inuit treaty organizations. It fully respects treaty-based environmental assessment processes, he said. In fact, those will be essential for anything that we move forward. Meaning, if anybody objects, it doesn't go forward. Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations, Rebecca Alty, I guess, added later, at the end of the day, treaties are above this law. They have to be respected, and that's always been the case with this bill. So my question is, if First Nations are now going to be allowed to just step in and say, nah, we don't want a pipeline, oh, we don't want energy independence, no, we don't want these projects happening, does that mean we have to stop sending them checks? Does that mean that they can pay taxes now like every other Canadian? They can finally be a part of the system? Because you can't have it both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it too. I know people are going to insert a fat joke there, but nonetheless, what we're talking about here is giving power to people who are already getting, now hang on a second here. I was going to say handouts from the government. However, people on land, people on treaty land, the band leaders are the problems. I've always said this. They keep all the money. Their people get nothing. They live in squalor on some of these reservations. It's up to new laws, new treaties, new organizations to make sure people are looked after. But if the leaders are going to turn around and say, nah, we want our say at the table, we want to shut this stuff down, I'm not saying that you shouldn't listen to the concerns of said people. You definitely should listen to the concerns. But what you also have to remember is this is 2025, not 1896. We have deals within those treaties that allow us to build. We pay for a certain percentage of that land. We continue to pay for it. We should have the right to use it. Or else, join the system, pay taxes, and you can have your right to decide whatever you want, if it is in fact 100% your land. I see this happen all the time. In fact, I always use Calgary as an example, where the ring road had to be constructed in Calgary. It was going through the Tsuut'ina First Nations, and they kept coming back to the table for more money. More money, more money, more money, and then they'd say, well, we're going to shut it down because it's our land. The city finally said, we've had enough. We'll just build around your land. We're not going to go through it anymore. And as soon as they realized that their land wasn't worth jack squat, they came to the table and said, okay, we'll take that very large sum of money you were offering us. Clearly, we don't want our land to be worthless. They're all in it for whatever deals are going to benefit them. And that negotiation showed just that. It says here, Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations, Rebecca Alty. Oh, we already got that. Obed came into Thursday's meeting with concerns about whether or not modern treaties for Inuit would be respected, but said that he left reassurances C5 would not affect them. The Prime Minister and his cabinet ministers couldn't have been any clearer in their assurances to Inuit leadership about the upholding of the constitutionally protected agreements that we have with the Crown. According to the Government of Canada website, treaties are agreements made between the Crown Indigenous groups that define the rights and obligations. They continue and include historic treaties and modern treaties, also called comprehensive land claim agreements. It says here that Assembly of the First Nations National Chief Cindy Woodhouse had raised some alarm bells about C5 before it was tabled and passed in June, saying that the proposed bill suggests a serious threat to the exercise of treaty rights by First Nations. The legislation, which was first fast-tracked in Parliament to become law in late June, gives Carney's cabinet authority to designate projects such as pipelines, ports, and highways in the national interest and speed up federal approval processes. This is why, after the Premier's meeting, Mark Carney had nothing. He had no plans, he had no announcements, he had nothing going on, because he has killed any chance Canada has of moving projects forward. He's doing the same thing he did when talking about a West-East pipeline, where he said, look, I'm happy to build pipelines so long as every province is in agreement on the table that it's necessary. And of course, you had Quebec coming out saying, we don't find it socially acceptable to put in a pipeline. He's now given over certain rights to First Nations to now say, well, we don't agree with what's going on. So Mark Carney has to say, well, guys, we were going to do a pipeline. We were going to do some infrastructure. We were going to open up economic trade barriers. But First Nations have said it doesn't meet their requirements for the environmental protection of their land, so we're not going to move forward. Sorry, guys, I want to do it. It's not my fault. It's everybody else. How anybody can support Mark Carney at this point, or anybody can stand back and say, oh, he has the best interests of Canada. What has he done? What has he done besides any time he's asked, are you going to do anything for Canada? He always complains, well, I've only been here for a little bit of time. Oh, can I get a day off? Can I have some vacation time? We saw that on Canada Day. Now he's saying, well, it's everybody else's fault if they don't want to get on the table and work with me. Unbelievable. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think anything's going to get built in this Canada, in this country? You think we're going to see any progress moving forward, or do you think this is going to be a staple that, in fact, trade is dead in this country and we're not going to do anything? This is why premiers like Danielle Smith need to say, okay, you know what? You've shown us enough. We're not interested anymore. We're getting out of here. Scott Moe needs to do the same thing. Manitobans need to tell their smug premier, we're getting the hell out of here too if you don't want to do anything to benefit us. Anybody who wants to stand and be a liberal fart huffer and say, oh, I love the way our country's running, why don't you guys, you know what, I got a better idea. You guys should separate. You guys should all crowd into Ottawa and Southern Ontario, and anybody who wants to get out of there has the right to sell their land off to those who are going to stay, and those in Southern Ontario can have their own country, and the rest of us can close our borders, build pipelines, have access to all open markets, and prosper. I think that would be a better future, wouldn't it? Quebec, and I forgot to include Quebec in that. Quebec and Southern Ontario form their own country. Anybody who's wanting to get out of there deserves a payout, who wants a future. And they can all stand there and be woke and huff their own farts and feel good about themselves all they want to, and watch their economy completely cripple and crash. We'll work with the United States. We'll work with other countries. We'll be prosperous. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. If it's your first time here, I hope this video's earned your subscription. Make sure you hit that button, folks. Something weird's going on with YouTube these days where audits are being done. People are being unsubbed. We had a lot of people talking about it in comment sections the other day, that they have to subscribe multiple times a week. Make sure you click that subscribe button. Turn on the bell for all notifications so that you never miss a beat anytime videos drop on this channel. Again, huge shout out to Mark Nixon for bringing this story to light. Go and follow him on YouTube. Join me live here on the channel each and every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, our weekly live streaming show, where I'm joined by the beautiful Mrs. Fringe as we talk about everything that happened this week in politics, everything we know that's coming up in the week ahead, as well as your Q&A within the greatest YouTube community on the platform. Don't forget to also join us this Wednesday night for the premiere of our new weekly show, Unhinged Fringe, starring my new co-host, the Celtic Canuck, returning to YouTube, making her debut with Unacceptable Fringe. It's going to be great to have her in here. I'm looking forward to having her in here. And I look forward to seeing you guys, both those shows happening every week, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, here on the channel. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.